Hey, Facebook! Welcome to another episode of Post Daily Dose with me, your trusted parenting advisor, faithful guide and servant on the healing journey. What's my name? Big Papa Bryan+Post. Happy Friday, everyone. In this episode tonight, we're going to be talking about how adults and schools continue to place the blame on children. And what I'm looking at is this phone here. So I'm trying to coordinate the phone, what I want to talk about on this phone, with you guys. And essentially this comes down to the title of this story is Lindsay School, and this is a small school in Oklahoma. So Lindsay is about a town of, I would say, 3,000 people. And it says Lindsay School breaks law by not telling police about, quote, hit list. So, hey, Jennifer, it's very, so a town of 3,000, the parents are upset because the school did not tell the parents about this hit list. So apparently, I'm going to read the story to you. Parents in Lindsay are furious that the middle school didn't report his hit list targeting students to police or parents. The middle school principal says he didn't consider the threat serious, but the girls accused of making the threats are apparently still doing it. It appears by keeping quiet, the district broke the law. The parents say they had a right to know when the Lindsay Middle School found the hit list with dozens of students' names. This comes from a parent. My frustration is with the school, their lack of taking care of the problem. The sixth graders who allegedly wrote the list were suspended, but the school didn't call police like the law requires. So apparently the law requires, hey, Lisa, hey, Heidi. Hey, good afternoon, Heidi. The law requires if kids are on a hit list that you're supposed to call the local police force. Police are investigating several other threats allegedly made by the girls since they were suspended, including threatening a disabled boy, according to the boy's mother. One of the girls, a 12-year-old, was arrested. So this 12-year-old was arrested Thursday after allegedly making threats at a school Wednesday night. She was released to her mother. It definitely indicates that the children haven't learned their lesson. You would think if they did it once, okay, that was a stupid mistake, it won't happen again. The children haven't learned from that yet, said Chief Wood. To me, there's an issue. What caused these kids to want to make a list that they want to kill other classmates? And so then in the comment section, before I read these, I want to tell you guys that as early as probably 8 years ago, research indicated that 98% of American citizens believed it was okay to whip a 2-year-old. So I just want to preface this because one of the comments says, sounds like the two kids need a good butt whipping from the parents. And the next one said, this one said they should review the victims of the crime. I feel like they would tell you more about those two girls. So they want to review the victims of the crimes. I guess whoever was on the list, they want to talk to them to learn more about these two girls. And then there's some spam in the comments. And then this was a good one from Amber Putnam. It says, kick them out of school. Whip their ass and let them sit in jail for a while. Wow. So the moral of the story is there were two girls in a school in Lindsay, Oklahoma, and they met, and these 12-year-old girls, and they made a list. Hey, Debbie, they made a list, a hit list for all these kids they were going to take out. And the parents are in an uproar about not being told that their kids were on this hit list. And you know, Big Papa's full of love the majority of the time. I say the majority of the time because I got a little bit of like country boy just open up a can of whoop ass in me. And it still sits in there. And my immediate impression to these parents being in an uproar over their children being on a hit list by these two little girls. So their children, this group of children being on a hit list by these two little girls, my immediate my immediate reaction to that is, if your children, so you parents who are up in an uproar over these children being on this hit list, if your children were not acting like little assholes towards these two children, they wouldn't be on the hit list. Dusty Fritz would have never been on that hit list. Shane McCoy would have never been on that hit list. I have lots of children I grew up with would have never been on that hit list because they were just nice kids. So if your children are being assholes to two other children, they're going to get put on a hit list. So you want to get furious with the school for not doing their job, when in reality, you need to be doing your job. You need to take responsibility for your children, for the way you are interacting with them, for the way you are communicating with them, for the way you are seeing them interact with other children, for the way they see you interact with other children and other adults. Don't put it all off on the school if your children are on the list. If your children are on the list, that's a problem. But in our society, the police officer and the parents, and I didn't hear anything from the school per se because the principal said he didn't think it was much of a threat. But in reality, he may have been trying to cover his own ass because all of a sudden there's a hit list. Oh my God, I don't want to get all this press that I now just got by saying I didn't think it was really a threat. So see, the school is probably just trying to sweep it under the carpet, sweep it under the rug. Hey, you girls don't make lists of this anymore. The truth of the matter is these little girls are being bullied. These children are being bullied, and not a single adult in what I just read is taking any kind of responsibility to correct the bullies. Everyone wants to focus on the victims. So even the comment was, talk to the girls who are on the list and they can probably give you more insight into these two girls. Yeah, they can. They can tell you how weird the two girls are, or how the two girls don't fit in, or how they're weird and they're immature and they make weird jokes, or whatever you want to call it. We're missing the point. And so the 12-year-old victim, and I think I'm probably right on this. My gut tells me I'm right on this. The 12-year-old victim who put the list of all the mean people, made the list of all the mean people, is the one who gets arrested. We're totally missing the boat. And this is in small town America. This is in small town Oklahoma. So imagine how many children across the United States, across the regions of the world, are being bullied. And they have no voice. They have no one who's helping them. They feel completely overpowered, disempowered, helpless, overwhelmed. And the best they can do, they can't even go to their own parents because their own parents get overwhelmed and don't know what to do. They feel scared and stressed out, or maybe they're just absent. They have nothing better to do, and in their mind, no other solution, no other recourse than to put these kids on a list. And I can tell you, this is probably just fantasy. It's probably just fantasy that this is, in these children's mind, because fantasy gives them some ability to control. It gives them some ability to feel like they have some power in the situation. And so it's so important for us to realize, so we want to take it and we want to vilify them, but we don't want to get to the root of the issue. It's too easy for us to think about these children just being bad, these children being psychopaths, these children looking to kill other children. We've got to stop being so freaking dense. We've got to stop feeling, I keep getting this call. Hang on a minute. We got to stop just looking on the surface. We got to stop just taking face value. We get so obsessed with behaviors. We get so obsessed. We get so stressed out. We get so overwhelmed by behaviors. And when we do, we don't pay attention to what's under the root. Are you serious? Are you kidding? If my child ever showed up on a hit list, that would tell me that something's going on with my kid. My kid is behaving in some kind of way Because that's the conversation I want to have with my child. Honey, did you realize you're on a hit list by 2 little girls? How do you think that happened? How do you think that happened? What have I done? How have I shown up in your life and modeled for you in your life and in my relationship with you that would position you to end up on a hit list of 2 children who obviously feel helpless? It's 2 kids. 2 kids. 2. This is a recurring theme throughout our society. We have these overwhelmed, helpless, emotionally immature children who get stressed out. They don't know what else to do except to bring guns through schools and shoot everybody up. Can we not do any better than that? Can we not open our eyes? It's kind of like when the tornado hit in Moore, Oklahoma. A tornado hit in Moore, Oklahoma, and there was no storm shelter. There was no cellar for these children to go in. And Moore, Oklahoma is Tornado Alley. It happens over and over and over again. And the school had not created adequate safety for children. Is that not weird? It is weird. Only if you don't realize that stress causes confused and distorted thinking and suppresses the short-term memory. Stress causes confused and distorted thinking and suppresses the short-term memory. We see a list of children on a school, we see a list of children on a list. We see their names on a list by these 2 girls, and we call it a hit list, and we immediately start freaking out. We lose our minds. We lose our minds, and when we lose our minds, our short-term memory is shut down, and our short-term memory tells us that most of those little kids on that list are assholes, and their parents are assholes. It's like not rocket science. You could probably take any teacher in that school, any principal in that school, and say, hey, what do you think about this kid? The kid's a problem. They're goody two-shoes. They're snobby. They probably pick on the kid at lunch and in the cafeteria, on recess, in the gym. This is when children have the most stress and the most drama in their lives. Our short-term memory shuts down, and all we do is we focus on the 2 little girls, the 2 helpless little girls who wrote the list. And guess what happens? Nothing. We keep doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. If you want to do something different, sit down with your children and have a deep, heartfelt conversation about how they ended up on that list, and you take their little butts and you go over to the homes of those 2 girls, and you have a conversation with those 2 girls and their parents, and you figure this stuff out. Figure it out. Take responsibility as the parent and stop blaming everyone else. It's not a school problem. It's just not. Bullying is not a school problem. Bless their hearts, the schools try to do the best they can, but they are woefully inequipped, and they just don't get it. The bottom line is they don't get it. The second line is they are woefully inequipped. If your child shows up on that list, if your child is the bully, that is a problem. Do something different. Do something different. Got to look behind the scenes. So that's Big Papa's rant for the night. And yes, this coincides with another story I shared on Facebook. I want you guys to go and click on that story about the opera singer who, when he was 12 years old, and what touched me when I saw that, I don't even remember when it came up, where I saw it this morning. He was 12 years old. He's from Virginia. And so I spent a lot of years in Virginia working for some really hardened children. And I remember going to a residential treatment center and checking on a child. And I remember my teacher, Millie Davis, taking me there and checking on a kid. And it just resonated with me. This kid who had been through so much drama, who becomes this famous opera singer. And I want to talk to him. I want to understand what his life was about. Speedo Green. That's I don't even remember his first name. Speedo Green was his middle name and his last name. But go on our Facebook page, Post Institute. I posted on everything. So I posted it in the Levolution site, on Bryan+Post Facebook, on Post Institute Facebook. I even posted on Bryan+Post LinkedIn. So I posted it everywhere because it's such a cool story. But I want to interview Speedo Green because I want to ask him about his life as an adult. I want to ask him about his emotional struggles because no one talks about that side of the story. I'm so thankful that he made it through the drama as a child and he had all these behavior issues and he overcame, and now he's got this gift, this amazing gift. But I also want you to understand the ongoing struggle of that traumatized child when they become an adult, even when they become successful. I want you to understand that because this is a lifelong trajectory. It's a lifelong trajectory. You have to understand that for your children, lifelong, and you have to continue to be committed to giving support, lifelong. So remember, in any two situations, we can react from the past. We can do the same thing we've always done. We can get overwhelmed. We can get stressed. We can blame the freaking kids. Oh my gosh, we can blame the freaking kids, or we can stop. We can take 3 to 10 deep breaths. We can slow down. We can say, guys, what's going on? What is going on? That children in our care would ever get to the environment to have to, the space to have to do that. That's choosing love. That's choosing love. Every single night, I say a little prayer for you guys that you will just lay down and then when you get a good night's rest and that the stress releases your body and love fills you and you wake up restored and reinvigorated and re-energized and refreshed and ready for a new day. I simply want you to understand that God is good and God is love. God is love. And when we are dwelling in love, we are dwelling in the body of God. And all things are possible. All healing is possible. Everything is amazing. Everything is amazing in the space of love. So God bless you. Thank you for listening to my little rant. I hope it gave you a few insights. Big Papa loves you, and I'll see you tomorrow night.